So before we begin, I would like to ask you, are you comfortable? Is there anything I can get for you?
No, good.
Great. So during this session, if there's any time you need to just take a break and you need to get up, stretch your legs, step away, you're able to do so. Ms. Williams, could you just begin by introducing yourself?
My name is Tina Williams.
Okay. And how are you doing today, Ms. Williams?
I'm doing well.
Okay, that's good to hear. And how are the girls?
They're doing good. Everybody's at school and getting ready for the end of the school year.
Okay.
So, yeah. we're
So
getting
that
ready.
sounds pretty exciting. School's almost over. Summer break's coming up.
Yes,
And I know they're pretty excited about summer break, huh?
indeed. We all are excited.
That's nice. So Ms. Williams, today I just wanted to talk to you about stress and a few stressors and things that's going on in life. So could you please just start by just telling me about yourself and about some things that you've been maybe going through or some things that may have been causing some stress to you?
Okay, sure. So, I am a mother of 7 girls.
Oh, wow.
That's stressful enough.
That's right. I know. Girls, they have their own personalities and
Exactly.
attitudes.
So, you have to think about 7 girls with 7 different personalities.
Okay.
I a mother 2 times is what I call it, because I have an older set of daughters and then I have a second set. That's what I call my second set of girls. And yeah, so my younger set are 11, 7 and a half, and 5. And they're all in elementary. And then my adult daughters are all grown and living their lives, what have you. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm very active in school and church and everything. So, yeah.
So that was just a little rundown about yourself. And that's nice to hear. And you said 7 girls. Wow, I
Yeah.
still can't get over that. So what are some things that's been happening in your life that may have caused you to become stressed or just worried?
Well, for one, I do battle with Crohn's disease. It's a chronic illness. And I've dealt
Sorry
with
to hear that, Ms. Williams.
Oh, it's okay. I'm used to it. But I've dealt with it now for 23 years, roughly. So that's been very stressful, trying to just maintain daily life and activities and still deal with the chronic illness. People expect for you to look, because you look a certain way, they think you're supposed to feel a certain way, but that's not the true example of Crohn's. Crohn's can cause a lot of different issues that no one could even really describe, understand, which all in all is stressful within itself. And so, yeah, so that's one of my main stressors is just trying to stay healthy and maintain a healthy lifestyle while dealing with the chronic illness.
And Ms. Williams, I just before we begin too deep into the conversation, I did want to just go over with you about what stress is and just things that can cause additional stressors on your life.
Okay.
So I did look up this definition before we begin this session, and it does define stress as the feeling of being overwhelmed or unable to cope with your mental and emotional pressures. And so when I do speak to clients in regards to stress, I do like to go over some things that may be affecting them mentally or emotionally, and ways to just strategies to reduce that stress.
Yeah.
And we also go over long-term possibilities that stress may cause. And so that's what I want to do during this session. So could you give me your definition of what stress may be?
It's so hard. I agree with all that you said. It does affect you mentally, emotionally, physically. Stress can be overwhelming.
Yes, friend.
It also gives you feelings of unawareness and instability.
Right.
Not being able to stabilize and get stuff done the way you think you can and should. Stress also, to me, can cause like breakdowns and moods and relationships and just everyday life.
And so what are some ways that you manage that stress? Or ways that you try to decrease having to deal with this stress?
I like to write poetry.
Okay.
I like to journal. I like to walk when I can. I like to be my children. My children are my stress factors. Are my stress. My children keep me from being stressed.
Okay.
So I use my children as a release.
That's good. I like that as well.
Thank you. And so I try to do that. I like to walk, like I said. I would like to get into exercising. I haven't gotten into that yet. But reading books usually calm me down, or even like a warm bath.
Okay.
I do have like a little meditation on my phone app that can help soothe and calm me down. So those are like some of my stress relievers.
So I do have here a list of strategies that I would like to give you in order to reduce stress.
Okay.
So the first one I have is to set limits and say no. So always being available can be one of those things that's causing stress because you're so used to being there for everyone and just being able to get up and go whenever someone needs you. So having the ability to say no and just setting your limits and knowing what is just too much and sometimes just being able to sit out those events could reduce some of that stress. Also, I do mention to not rely on any drugs or alcohol. That can easily turn into addiction. Anytime you go to drugs or alcohol, it may feel good for the moment, but those long-term repercussions are not always the best, and it does lead to additional health problems. If you are able to get with your PCP provider and see if they're able to set you up with a specialist, a psychologist, and just having someone to be able to talk to that's not family, that will give you the ability to not feel judged during that time, and just having someone who has also experienced it as well. Okay, and then I have here to be assertive, not aggressive. So just 5 different ways to display your emotions. So instead of keeping your feelings in and letting it build up to anger, or you just being unhappy all the time, let people know how you're feeling, don't just try to keep it to save face. Let them know how you're feeling, but don't be too aggressive when you are making that approach. I also have here, as you mentioned, you'd like to get into exercising, so I do have on here exercising and dieting. Even if you can just go outside for a walk every day for 10 minutes, up and down the street, that'll be a way to reduce that stress. Just going out, getting a breath of fresh air. I also suggest that is something that we look into. And lastly, I want to say get enough sleep. Sleep is the #1 cause for stress these days because people are not getting enough sleep, and they're just going about their days without being able to get any additional sleep. So I do suggest that we look into those strategies for you to see which will be the best in order to help you reduce the stress. So Ms. Williams, what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to give you a sheet of paper, and I wanted to write down a few things. Is there any chronic illnesses in your family?
Yes.
And just write those down and we can go over that as well because a lot of that can also be related to stress as well.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you a moment or two.
Okay.
Just write those few things down and then we can go over that once you have completed.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that, Ms. Williams. Okay, so it looks like you have here some chronic illnesses that your family may have dealt with was heart disease, high blood pressure, aneurysms, okay, that's a good one, COPD, diabetic, and migraine. So have you experienced any of these symptoms?
I personally have not, but like I said, my family history is really strong with it. My mom passed away from aneurysms.
Okay.
My grandmother had high blood pressure and diabetes. My mom also had high blood pressure. My dad had high blood pressure. It's like a family history.
Right.
So high blood pressure ran very rampantly in the family. And so as far as my mom with the aneurysms, that kind of scares me. So when I do get a headache, I do think about those aneurysms, and I know that stress is a very big cause of those
It
aneurysms.
is, especially with like yelling and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So we do want to stay away from the yelling and not being able to properly express ourselves when we do feel stressed.
Right.
Again, we can look back on those strategies to reduce stress. So just going outside, taking a walk,
Yeah.
taking a deep breath, finding some relaxation techniques in order to reduce the amount of stress, and again, saying no, setting those limits and boundaries, and just finding things that work for you when you do feel like you're getting stressed, even if it does mean that you have to remove yourself from the situation.
Right.
So we do want to go over those quotes, and I will send you home with a list of things that you can do when you're feeling stressed, or even that you can share with your girls when they're feeling stressed, or if they're having test ups, and I know that may cause some anxiety and stress for them, so you can just provide that list to them as well.
Okay.
So I did want to go over some long-term benefits, because I do see this list, and I have a lot of things on here that has to do with stress. Okay, so the long-term benefits when it comes to stress and being able to cope with that stress and reduce stress. So it has the reduction of dementia, so having dementia is memory loss, and that it also includes the risk of developing Alzheimer's.
Oh yeah.
So also on this list is the reducing of depression.
Depression.
Yes, so
Yeah, that's a thing in our family too.
depression, yes. So again, when you're feeling stressed, you may feel sometimes that you're alone and you don't have someone to reach out to. But we can again get you set up with a specialist so that you have someone to talk to during those times.
Okay.
It reduces the risk of heart disease, so I know you mentioned that here.
Yeah.
Strokes and type 2 diabetes, so that was also something that ran in your family, it looks like. Reducing stress can also reduce the risk of cancer.
Oh. I should put cancer on there.
Okay. Yeah, so it does reduce the risk of cancer, and actually many cancers. So I have here bladder cancer, breast cancer, colon, kidney, lung, stomach, and esophagus cancer. Yes, ma'am. Okay. And reducing the amount of stress that you go through will also reduce the risk of weight gain. I know that you did mention wanting to look into exercising, and when you do begin exercising, you don't have to start anything very vigorous. You can just work your way into it. So like I said, starting that walk up and down the street, and you can do that once a week, and then once you feel comfortable with that and feel like you're able to pace yourself, you can start doing it twice a week. And you can even add weights with it. So you're walking up and down the street with weights once a week. So that'll be a good way to reduce stress. It is important to reduce stress because it'll have an effect on improving your bone health. So your bone health, if you're taking care of your body, you're getting that good bone structure. And it also balances the risk of falls. And then, like we were speaking about the sleep, so being able to get sleep can ensure that you're not overwhelmed and you're feeling a lot better about yourself and the things that you have to endure that day. And it decreases the feeling of anxiety.
Okay.
So you're not feeling anxious throughout the day, you're not worried about what's going on or what's not going right, and just being able to have a clear mind and enjoying your day as much as possible.
Okay.
And lastly, I have here, and is that it decreases blood pressure.
Okay.
And I know that a lot of these factors that you have here that runs in your family has a lot to do with blood pressure. So reducing your anxiety can reduce the stress and also reduce blood pressure, which causes another list of problems.
Okay.
So we were able to go ahead and go over all of the things that I wanted to go over with you today, Ms. Williams. If you have any questions, ask the question.
Yes, so I saw where you said that stress can be a